I never thought a simple garden hose could destroy my family. But that is exactly what happened on a Saturday morning in July. We were at my sister-in-law's house for her annual summer barbecue. She lived in a big colonial-style home. The lawn was always perfectly manicured. The flower beds were full of roses and petunias. It was the kind of house that always made me feel a little bit poor. My wife loved going there. She said it was nice to see her sister doing well. I think she secretly compared our lives to theirs. Our house was fine. It was a small ranch with a chain-link fence. But next to this place, it looked like a shed. The barbecue was a big deal. My sister-in-law invited everyone. Her husband was a successful dentist. He had a boat and a sports car. He always wore pastel polo shirts and boat shoes with no socks. He talked about golf and stock portfolios. I worked at a warehouse. I drove a truck with a dented bumper. I wore jeans and t-shirts. We did not have much in common. But for my wife, I went. I smiled and ate his expensive grilled steaks. I nodded when he talked about his vacation to the Bahamas. I kept my mouth shut about my own problems. That was the deal. My wife had two sisters. There was the older one who hosted the party, and there was the youngest one. She was a free spirit type. She lived in a van and sold handmade jewelry online. She was always talking about energy and chakras. My wife was the middle child. She was the responsible one. She was the one who took care of their aging parents. She was the one who remembered everyone's birthdays. She was the one who held our family together. I loved her for that, but I also saw how tired she was. She was always trying to prove herself to her sisters. She wanted their approval. She wanted them to see she was just as good as them. The party was in full swing by noon. The kids were running through a sprinkler on the lawn. The adults were gathered around the patio. There were plastic cups of lemonade and bottles of craft beer. My sister-in-law was showing off her new outdoor kitchen. It had a brick pizza oven and a granite countertop. My wife was helping her arrange platters of fruit. I was standing by the grill with my brother-in-law. He was telling me about his new golf clubs. He said they cost more than my truck. He laughed when he said it. I forced a smile. Then my nephew came running over. He was 6 years old and full of energy. He had a garden hose in his hand. He was spraying water at the other kids. They were all screaming and laughing. My brother-in-law yelled at him to stop. He said he was getting water on the patio furniture. The kid did not listen. He kept running around. He was laughing hysterically. He swung the hose around. The water arced through the air. It landed directly on his father. It soaked his pastel polo shirt. It dripped down his boat shoes. My brother-in-law froze. His face turned red. He grabbed the hose from the kid. He yanked it hard. The kid fell down on the grass. He started crying. My brother-in-law did not comfort him. He just stood there holding the hose. He looked furious. He looked at his shirt. He looked at his shoes. He muttered something under his breath. Then he turned and pointed the hose at me. He did it as a joke. He sprayed me right in the chest. The water was cold and shocking. I stumbled back. I bumped into a side table. A glass of lemonade fell and shattered on the patio stones. Everyone got quiet. The only sound was the crying kid and the sprinkler. My wife came over. She looked at me. She looked at her brother-in-law. She asked what happened. He said it was just a joke. He said I was too clumsy. He laughed again, but it was a mean laugh. I felt my face get hot. I felt the water soaking through my shirt. I felt the eyes of everyone on me. I said nothing. I just walked away. I walked to the side of the house. I needed to cool down. The side yard was empty. It had a small garden shed and a pile of firewood. I stood there breathing deep. I was trying to calm myself. I was telling myself to let it go. It was just water. It was just a clumsy moment. But I could not shake the feeling of embarrassment. I could not shake the feeling that I was the joke. I was the poor brother-in-law who could not even stand still. I was the one everyone pitied. I felt a hot tear roll down my cheek. I wiped it away fast. Then I heard footsteps. It was my youngest sister-in-law. She came around the corner. She had a sympathetic look on her face. She said she was sorry about what happened. She said her brother-in-law could be a real jerk sometimes. She said she knew how it felt to be the odd one out. I nodded. I thanked her. She put her hand on my arm. She said I should not let him get to me. She said I was a good man. She said my wife was lucky to have me. It was a kind thing to say. I felt a little better. Then she leaned in closer. She lowered her voice. She said she had a secret. She said she saw something inside the house. She said she saw her brother-in-law on his phone. He was messaging another woman. She said she saw a photo. It was a woman in a bikini. She said she did not know who it was, but she knew it was not her sister. She said she wanted to tell someone. She said she could not keep it in anymore. She said she was afraid of breaking up the family, but she felt like they were living a lie. My heart started pounding. I did not know what to say. This was a massive bomb. This was the kind of secret that could destroy everything. I looked back at the house. I could see my brother-in-law laughing with his friends. He seemed so confident and carefree. I could see my sister-in-law arranging flowers. She looked so happy. She looked so proud of her perfect house and her perfect husband. I felt a cold knot form in my stomach. I did not want to know this. I did not want to be the keeper of this secret. I told my youngest sister-in-law to be careful. I said she should talk to her sister. I said it was not my place. She got upset. She said I was a coward. She said I was just like everyone else. She said I was afraid of confrontation. She said I let people walk all over me. She was right. I was afraid. I was afraid of making a scene. I was afraid of ruining the party. I was afraid of my wife being mad at me. I walked away from her too. I went back to the main yard. The party continued. People were eating and laughing. My wife was talking to her older sister. They were looking at photo albums on a tablet. I went and sat on a chair in the corner. I watched everyone. I watched my brother-in-law tell a story. Everyone was laughing. I watched my sister-in-law smile at him. She kissed his cheek. He put his arm around her. It looked so perfect. But now I knew it was a lie. I knew he was messaging other women. I knew the perfect house was built on sand. The afternoon wore on. The sun got hotter. The kids got tired and cranky. The adults got more drunk. My wife came over to me. She asked if I was okay. She said I looked upset. I told her I was fine. I told her I just had a headache. She said we could leave early if I wanted. She said she knew the party was not my thing. She squeezed my hand. She said she loved me. She said she appreciated me coming. I felt guilty. I was holding a massive secret from her. I was lying to her face. I could not take it anymore. I stood up. I walked over to my brother-in-law. He was by the grill, flipping burgers. I tapped him on the shoulder. He turned around. He had a smug look on his face. He asked if I needed help with something. I said I needed to talk to him. I said it was private. He looked surprised. He told the other guys to give us a minute. They walked away. He asked what was going on. I took a deep breath. I told him what the youngest sister told me. I told him about the phone and the photo. His face changed. The smugness disappeared. His eyes went wide. He looked at the ground. He looked at the house. He looked at his wife. She was laughing with her friends. He turned back to me. He asked if I told anyone else. I said no. He said good. He said it was a misunderstanding. He said the photo was an old one. He said it was from before he got married. He said he forgot to delete it. He said he was faithful to his wife. He said he loved her more than anything. He begged me not to say a word. He said it would ruin everything. I did not believe him. His voice was shaky. His hands were trembling. He was lying. I could see it in his eyes. But I did not know what to do. I did not want to be the one who exposed him. I did not want to be the one who broke my wife's sister's heart. I just wanted to go home. I told him I would keep quiet. But I told him he needed to come clean. I told him he needed to tell his wife the truth. He nodded. He said he would. But I knew he would not. He was a coward just like me. I walked back to my wife. I told her I needed to leave. I said my headache was getting worse. She looked at me with concern. She said okay. She gathered our things. She said goodbye to her sisters. She gave them hugs. I stood behind her like a shadow. My brother-in-law gave me a look. It was a look of warning. It was a look of desperation. I ignored him. I got in a car. My wife started driving. She asked if I wanted to stop for medicine. I said no. I just wanted to go home. We drove in silence for a while. Then my wife spoke. She said she saw me talking to her brother-in-law. She said he looked upset. She asked what we talked about. I told her it was nothing. I told him I was just asking about the grill. She said that was a lie. She said she knew me better than that. She said she saw my face. She said I looked like I was carrying the weight of the world. She pulled the car over to the side of the road. She turned to me. She said, tell me the truth. She said I owed her that. I broke down. I told her everything. I told her what her youngest sister saw. I told her what I said to her brother-in-law. I told her he begged me to keep quiet. I told her I did not know what to do. My wife stared at me. Her face was pale. Her hands were gripping the steering wheel. She did not speak for a long time. I thought she was going to yell. I thought she was going to cry. But she just sat there. Then she started the car again. She said we were going back. I said no. I said we should stay out of it. I said it was their problem. She said no. She said her sister deserved to know. She said she could not live with that secret. She said she would never forgive herself if she did not say something. She turned the car around. We drove back to the house. The party was still going. Everyone was still laughing and eating. My wife marched through the backyard. She walked straight up to her sister. She took her by the arm. She led her into the house. I followed behind. My wife told her older sister everything. She told her about the photo. She told her about the messages. She told her about my conversation with her husband. My sister-in-law listened. Her face went from confusion to shock to anger. She looked at her husband. He was standing in the doorway. His face was white as a sheet. He tried to explain. He tried to make excuses. She told him to shut up. She told him to pack his things. She told him to get out. He started crying. He begged for another chance. She said no. She said it was over. She said she would not live a lie. The whole party went silent again. Everyone was watching. The kids were crying. The neighbors were staring. My brother-in-law walked inside. He came out a few minutes later with a suitcase. He walked to his sports car. He got in and drove away. He did not say goodbye to anyone. He just left. My sister-in-law sat down on a lawn chair. She put her head in her hands. My wife went to her. She knelt down and hugged her. They both started crying. I stood there feeling numb. I felt like I had just detonated a bomb. The party ended early. Everyone left. My wife and I stayed to help clean up. We picked up plastic cups and paper plates. We folded the lawn chairs. We turned off the sprinkler. My sister-in-law sat on the patio steps. She stared at the empty driveway. She looked broken. My wife told her she could stay with us for a while. She said she would not be alone. My sister-in-law nodded. She said thank you. She said she never saw it coming. She said she thought her life was perfect. My wife held her hand. We drove home that night in the dark. My wife was quiet. She was processing everything. I was processing everything. I felt a mix of emotions. I felt guilty for telling her, but I also felt relief. The secret was out. The lie was exposed. But the cost was high. A marriage was over. A family was shattered. A perfect house was now empty. I looked at my wife. She looked at me. She said she was glad I told her. She said honesty was more important than comfort. She said she loved me for it. I reached over and held her hand. We got home. We went inside our small ranch house. The kitchen light was flickering. The faucet was dripping. The carpet was stained. But it was our home. It was not perfect, but it was real. My wife made us tea. We sat on the couch. We did not turn on the TV. We just sat there in the quiet. We held each other. We talked about the future. We talked about her sister. We talked about our own marriage. We promised to always be honest. We promised to never let secrets fester. We promised to always be on the same team. A week later, my sister-in-law moved into our spare room. She was different. She was quieter. She did not wear makeup. She did not talk about her perfect house. She helped my wife with the dishes. She played with our dog. She said our house was peaceful. She said she felt safe there. She said she appreciated us. She said she was sorry for always showing off. She said she was jealous of our simple life. She said she realized that money did not buy happiness. She said she learned that the hard way. My brother-in-law tried to call her. He tried to come by the house. She told him no. She said she needed time. She said she needed to figure out who she was without him. She changed her phone number. She started going to therapy. She started painting again. She had not painted since college. She sold a few pieces online. She started to smile again. It was a small smile, but it was real. My wife was proud of her. I was proud of her too. She was stronger than I thought. My youngest sister-in-law came to visit. She said she felt guilty. She said she was the one who started it all. She said she should have kept her mouth shut. My wife told her no. She said she did the right thing. She said secrets were poison. She said the truth was always better. The youngest sister hugged her. They started crying again. I left them alone. I went out to the backyard. I looked at my own garden hose. It was old and cracked. It was cheap, but it was mine. I did not use it to spray anyone. I used it to water my tomatoes. That was enough. I still think about that day. I think about the barbecue. I think about the garden hose. I think about the lemonade glass breaking. I think about the look on my brother-in-law's face. I think about the look on my sister-in-law's face. I think about the car driving away. I think about the silence. I think about the crying. I think about the truth. It was a hard truth, but it was the truth. And in the end, the truth set us all free. It broke us apart, but it also brought us closer. We were not a perfect family. We were a messy family, but we were a real family. And that is all that matters.